Hi friends, and welcome to Decorate Your Life. In today's tutorial we're going to be building a snail mail explosion box. This beautiful shabby chic snail mail explosion box that you see here was created with the We Are Memory Keepers box punch board. Now this is a two-part tutorial. This very first part will be using the We Are Memory Keepers punch board, and the second part to this shabby chic snail mail box will be without the Memory Keepers punch board. While making this shabby chic snail mail explosion box with my We Are Memory Keepers punch board, I thought to myself, you know what? Not only can you make this into a snail mail box, but you can also utilize your punch board to make a mini album explosion box. You just follow the directions on the board and you are good to go. The papers that I used in the making of this shabby chic snail mail box are from Prima, and also the roses that you see there, and I have also used the Heartfelt Creations Ariana lace dies in the making of some of the embellishments and the flourishes. Now I will be leaving links to some of the items that I used in this snail mail box in the description area below and also in my blog. I want to say hi and welcome to all of my new subscribers, and if you just happen to land on this video, just click on that subscribe button. At Decorate Your Life, I do a lot of paper crafting, project shares, some tutorials, some traveler's notebooks, and I try to have fun along the way. Okay, so don't forget this is a two-part video. The second part is for those without the We Are Memory Keepers punch board. Let's go ahead and get started.
Okay, so for our snail mail box, we're going to need a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock or designer paper. I'm not using designer paper for this tutorial because I'm planning on making a shabby chic snail mail box, and I thought it would be best if I used just regular craft paper. So this is a regular 12 by 12 piece of craft paper, and what we're going to do is we're going to follow the directions on the We Are Memory Keepers gift box punch board for the 4 by 4 by 4 box size, which is obviously tells you to use a 12 by 12, and we're going to be using the XL on the start line and the XL on the diagonal line. So we're going to open up our little arm right along there, and the one thing that we are not going to do is use the punch. We're not going to be using the punch, but we're going to be marking our lines as usual. And so let's get started on this. We're going to go one here, one there, extend it all the way out, and the XL, which is our diagonal line, is going to go right along there. So we have that. Now we're going to turn the paper 90 degrees, and we're going to do the same thing along this side. Just make sure that your ends match. We're going to go here, and we're going to go here. Alrighty, turn it 90 degrees and make sure that our XL is right there. Okay, we're going to go like so. Mark that down a little bit further. Okay, we're going to go like so. And we are going to go like so. And obviously we're going to do this for all 4 sides. So let's go here and here and here. And is that all of them? Yep, that is all of them. Okay, so now I don't know if you can tell, we have all of our lines marked down on all sides, and this can go off to the side. We don't need it anymore. So what we're going to do here is, see this line right across here, the ends, the corners, we're going to remove those, okay? So you can either use your paper trimmer or your scissors to remove those, and I believe I'm going to use my paper trimmer, and you just basically line it up on your trimmer. Let's see, like so. Just make sure it matches nicely, and we trim one corner, and we're going to go to the other corner. Goes there, that one goes there. I think it's a good match. Okay. So now that we have all 4 pieces, 4 corners cut off, you can just toss these out. I'm not going to be using these. So your paper is going to look like this, okay? Kind of like a hexagonal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, actually an octagonal. So anyways, now that we have those corners trimmed, we are going to fold along all of our scored lines. And that's 1, that is 2, and this one makes 3, and this one makes 4. Okay, so now we have to fold along the diagonal lines, and you fold them right along the inside. You will find that as you pinch them, pinch the 2 sides together, they follow that natural fold. So that's 1 corner, this makes the 2 corners, and this makes the 3rd corner, and this is the 4th corner. And this is pretty much it, your snail mail box. It is a 4x4 snail mail box, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to make the lid to this box the way I learned it, and there are several different tutorials on how to make a lid for a box, but I'll tell you one thing, ladies, Tamika from Scrap the World had a video on it, and she explained it the best way that I could understand it. So basically, let me go ahead and write it down along here. Basically, what you have is, here, let me do this. Use a paper that you can see. Hang on just a moment. Okay, so let's say this is our box, okay? This is our box, or our lid to our box. It's going to have 4 sides and 4 flaps, alrighty? And this is how Tamika explained it, and that is how I understood it, because I always had a hard time with it. So we know that this is 4 inches, and we know that this is 4 inches. See, 4 inches and 4 inches. So this right here is going to be how deep you want it to be to go, and I think I want it to go down 1.5 inches. Let me check real quick how far down I want. I believe I want it to go down 1.5 inches. Okay, so let's do 1.5 inches here. I'm going to write 1.5 inches here, and 1.5 inches here, 1.5 inches here, and 1.5 inches here. Okay, so now what you do is you take this plus this plus this, and that is going to be your length, and then this plus this, or this plus this plus this is going to be your width, how you're going to cut your paper. So we know that 1.5 plus 1.5 makes 3. 3 plus 4 is 7. Okay, now here we have 7, and over here 1.5, and 1.5 is 3 plus 4 is 7. So we know that we're looking at 7 by 7 for the lid for this box. However, because you're always going to have a really tight fit, you need to give your lid a little bit more room so that it will be able to go down the correct way and not really squeeze it and have your box look all wonky. So what we're going to do is we're going to allow ourselves 1/8 of an inch on both sides, okay? So this right here, let me see, do we want an 1/8 or a 16th? No, let's give ourselves an 1/8 of an inch on both sides. So what we're going to do is we're going to trim paper to 7 1/8 by 7 1/8. I hope that this math makes sense to you, but that is the best way that I can explain it to you, and that is how I can understand it to make the lid to the box. So let me put the box over to the side, and let me grab another piece of cardstock. There we go. And now I'm going to trim it down to 7 1/8 by 7 1/8. Okay. So here is our paper, and let's see. Alrighty. And this goes bye-bye. And now I need to find my handy dandy scoreboard. Here we go. We have our handy dandy scoreboard, and now we are going to be scoring. Remember how I said I want each fold over to be at 1 1/2 inch? So that's what we're going to do. We are going to score 1 1/2 inch along all sides. So that's 1 1/2 inch there, 1 1/2 inch there, 1 1/2 inch there, and 1 1/2 inch there. Okay, and by following the 1 1/2 inch, it's going to give us over here that additional 1/8 that we added to our measurements. So you really don't have to worry about that 1/8. Just go with your initial, even though you cut it 1/8 extra, just go with your initial measurements for the size of your box. And of course, in this case, we are going with a 4 by 4 box. And I think that you might want to stick to just a 4 by 4 box, because when you send it in snail mail, you also have to put the size of your mail into consideration, which, you know, those small boxes that you can get at Walmart, the 6 by 6, you can easily mail your snail mail box inside one of those boxes, and it doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg to do that. So here we go. We have our that done. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to take our scissors and we are going to trim our paper right along one side. Okay, that's one. Turn it, and in the same direction, we're going to be doing the same edge. Okay, turn it, and it's going to be this edge right here. And turn it, and it's going to be this edge right there. Alrighty, so now we have our this for the boxes. And what I like to do too is, now that we have our trimmed, our edges trimmed, I like to go back and kind of like cut a little bit of a right side triangle, if I could. Yeah. It'll look like a right side triangle once you cut that. And so what I need to do is let me get that out of the way. And the reason why I do that is so that when I put the lid together, see, this is what I mean by a right side triangle. So that way when I put the lid together, I am able to put it in correctly without this smashing into that part right there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue a piece right along here. Alrighty, that way I have my piece glued here, and I am going to go ahead and glue a piece of designer paper here. So now, in keeping with my shabby chic look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my canvas paper that I got from Tuesday Morning for that price. I'm going to be using those to cover up my Shabby Chic box. We already know that this is a 4 by 4 square, so what I want to do is I want to be able to trim this down to 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. Yeah. So that's 1, and that's 2. And this is going to go right along here. Right here. And you might want to use your bone folder to just kind of like flatten out any air bubbles or anything that you might have there. What I'm going to do, I don't want to ruin my nice paper, my nice background paper. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece and it's going to go right along there. And if you okay, so that's pretty much our lid, and I'm gonna keep this open like this because it may actually, I don't know yet if I want to close this down. I may need it like this so that I can add some decor, decorate or embellish my lid later. But now let's go ahead and move on to our box. So we have our box. Alrighty, and it's pretty much going to close like this. And since this is my Shabby Chic box, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut squares and glue them here, 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 and here. And I'm going to place them there, and I'm going to see about doing a different Shabby Chic paper for these 4 parts on the inside. So I will be right back.